There's reports from Autism Queensland that suggest that 1 in 20 autistic kids are currently not able to attend school. And they also state that of those kids that are attending, 3 out of 4 of them are struggling. You add that to kids with learning difficulties or other disabilities, and you can see how big of a problem this is. And there's data right across Australia that supports this. There's a lot of people that hear that and they think they just don't want to go, and they've got parents that are letting them stay home. But for a lot of these kids, school doesn't just feel hard, it feels unsafe, it feels painful. There's a big difference between a child that doesn't want to go to school and those that genuinely can't. I've spent over 20 years working in schools as a guidance officer and a teacher. What I want to do today is just to simply build understanding of why this is happening. Because when we understand the why behind the behaviour, everything changes about how we respond. What some kids experience at school is brutal. Schools, especially high schools, are incredibly complex social environments, way more complex than most adult workplaces. The social rules are unwritten and they change daily. Friendships shift overnight without warning. There's pressure to perform, to fit in, to be someone you're not. For a child with autism, that can feel like trying to follow a conversation when you're still learning the language, when everyone around you is fluent. For kids with learning delays or an intellectual disability, that social gap widens every year, and they feel it. These kids aren't unaware of where they sit. Some of them are navigating that reality every single day. The sensory experience in schools is a reason why a lot of them struggle. The absolute chaos going on around them, the crowds, the bells, the harsh lights, the overwhelming smells. For kids with sensory sensitivities, and that includes kids with autism and intellectual disability, school isn't just tiring. It's an environment that keeps their nervous system on high alert for 6 hours straight. And then there's masking. Some of these kids are working incredibly hard all day just to appear like they're coping, like they're fitting in. They're monitoring every word. They're performing normal. For a while, they can do it. But masking all day comes at a cost. And at some point, it stops being a choice and it becomes something they physically can't sustain anymore. That capacity runs out. That's usually when attendance starts to fall apart. From the outside, it appears sudden, but it really isn't. For many of these kids, the learning itself sends a daily message. These children often have intense passions, deep interests, real strengths, but the curriculum is bored and prescriptive, and it rarely meets them where their strengths live. So instead of 6 hours of building their confidence and feeling really capable, some of these kids are getting 6 hours of the quiet message of being behind, that what others find really easy, they find incredibly hard. Year after year, that accumulates. And I'm definitely not pointing the finger at teachers here, because the system that they're working in is under enormous pressure, often without the resources they need to support. But for these kids, the impact is enormous. For some kids, underneath the refusal, there's a history and even some real trauma. Incidents at school that were painful and never fully resolved. Moments that felt like humiliation, exclusion, or being misunderstood by someone they needed trust. It could be bullying, but it doesn't have to be. Kids carry those experiences, and over time, that becomes one of the reasons why school's not just feeling hard for them. School feels like a place that has actually hurt them. The refusal starts not from the morning they couldn't get out of the car. That's just the moment where the weight of it became too much for them to carry. So what do we do with all of this? Honestly, there's a whole bunch of reasons why a young person might not be able to attend school. Today was just a short video helping you understand that there's something behind that behaviour. And when we understand this, we stop seeing a difficult child and we start seeing a kid who's overwhelmed, exhausted, and needs something different. That shift in understanding from won't to can't, from difficult to distressed, changes the entire conversation. And that conversation is where we turn this around. This is a massive problem for our community because there is nothing more important than a young person being able to access a quality education.